Wow, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I totally lost track of the time. I've been all ready here forever, and I don't even have stuff on. What the hell am I doing here? I've been ready forever, and I was all set with the show, and I started talking to Don about the show. He got here, and of course, let me welcome Don, my co-host to the show. Welcome to the show, Don. And let me unmute you.
Hey, it's Mike. Hey.
Oh, my God. Can you believe that?
It's a Friday. Isn't it?
I swear to God, I looked at the clock, and it was 20 till, and we started talking, and then I looked over, and oh, my God, it's 10.
He grabbed his headphones. He goes, oh, God, I got to start stuff.
Yeah, well, it looks like we made it in time, ladies and gentlemen. We are hitting the ground running here on the portal, but we made it. We did it. We're here, and I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Happy Friday to you. You made it. You are now successfully into the weekend, so congratulations, and hope you have a great weekend planned ahead of you. Don, how's your week been?
Well, if I can get through my computer issues right now, my week's been okay.
Yeah, we've been troubleshooting Don's computer as well as just doing a million things here. We were just having this great discussion, and all of a sudden it was like, pow. Oh, my God.
We got to get on the air. We got to stop screwing around.
So I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but we are here, we are live, and we are rocking this day away. So
hitting the ground running.
I'm still trying to get everything set up the way I want it to be, like I usually do about 10 minutes before the show, but I'm doing it tonight right now. We got a few people already in YouTube, and I wouldn't know. I'm not there yet. No, Don's computer's down, so he's going to be a little MIA here for a little bit. But as we start the show, I wanted to bring some listener emails in. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the show is live, and it is Friday night. This is Friday the 17th of August. Already the 17th. Wow.
Wow, I know, huh?
But the call-in board is open, so if you want to call and be a part of the show, you're always welcome to do that. We are here and ready to go, but it is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998, or you can call 833-TFR-LIVE if you need a toll-free number. But if you're calling from the UK, if you're up early and want to chat paranormal, then call 44203-393-2871. Again, 44203-393-2871. So those are your options.
It's like the old days. You just whip those out.
I know, right? But God, I just, honest to God, thank God I thought to look over my shoulder quick. Oh my God, I'm just hitting the ground running here. So I do want to start with some listener emails, though. We've gotten some great ones in. I guess it was just one. I thought we had a few, but I might have misled them because we read Summer Lids. That was the last one. So we got another one from Ruthie in here. Ruthie Castro sent in another one. So I'm actually, she sent it in and I read it and I was like, ooh, what happened next? What happened next? Because she refers to the next one. And so I'm really excited to hear all these different tales that she's experienced because they're really incredible encounters.
It's really nice when a listener can put you on the edge of the seat,
Right. Well, I mean, I'm everybody that writes in stories. I just want to hear everything they've ever seen. To me, that's just it's my personal addiction, maybe.
Okay, yeah, we can accept that.
I don't know. I'm jonesing for some paranormal, ladies and gentlemen. But it's just really neat to see what people have experienced, to hear the story through their own eyes, through their own writing, and so I think that's amazing. But yeah, we're going to get to this story right away, and we will see what you guys think. But she actually references another story, but that's another story. So that's the part. That's the part where I was like, oh no, what? Tell me. So let me read this and see what you guys think. But I think it's pretty amazing. Hi, Brent. Here's another short story for you. This experience happened when I was about 13. It was a confusing experience because at first I was certain it was a dream. Then I realized it really did happen to me in the middle of the night when I should have been tucked into my warm bed. Around midnight, I woke up and had the urge to go into the living room. I got out of bed reluctantly, and as I entered the living room, I looked over at our big green sofa, and sitting at the end of it was an older man in his 70s, and he had a head of thinning white hair, a round face, and soft features, and he was wearing clothes from the 40s, a gray wool cardigan and a white shirt on, suspenders that held his pants up. He was a bit plump, and he seemed very cozy on my sofa.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be there.
Oh, yeah. God was showing. Yeah. You're not gray enough yet, though.
A bit plump. Okay.
I stood in front of him until he noticed me. He looked at me and smiled. And I asked him out loud, what are you doing here? He gave a sigh and answered, I'm just waiting. I replied with the question, what are you waiting for? Waiting for what? And he replied with the same calm answer, I'm just waiting. And he smiled and looked forward at our front window. He seemed content and was in no rush. So I went back into my bedroom, still wondering who he was and what or whom he was waiting for. He just seemed pleasant enough. I had no problem going back to sleep, and in the morning I told my mom what I had seen, and she was perplexed about his identity. I described him to her in detail, and she gathered he was not family. That was the only time I have seen this spirit. My mother saw spirits also, so she was easy to talk to. To this day, I still wonder who this man is and what he was waiting for. Was he waiting for me? Many years after this experience, I felt him near me. But that's another good story. That's the cliffhanger right there. That's like, oh, don't do that to me. Don't do that.
That was good, Ruthie. That's
Good job.
excellent.
I hope you enjoyed the story and have a great show, you two. Glad I can share my experiences with you.
That's awesome.
We're thrilled you can too, Ruthie, and thank you so much for sending that in. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have an encounter or experience of your own of any kind in the paranormal, please email it to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. We'll be happy to showcase your stories as well. And I like these stories because, A, nobody's ever heard them before, and nobody's heard them through your experience. Mm-hmm. So when you write the stories, you're explaining what you felt. You're explaining what you saw. And you may have seen details or things that other people that have had similar experiences didn't notice. And I think we all learn through each other's experiences. And so that's why I'm really excited to get these stories when they come in. So thank you again, Ruthie. That was awesome. And I can't wait for more.
I don't like her ending, though.
See? That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, it makes you want more.
Oh,
so
another good story. What?
Wow.
So, I don't know. I'd probably have Ruth Velcroed to a desk until she finished them all if it was my choice.
Right, lady, right.
Finish. I want to know it all.
I don't care if it's a novel.
That's right. No, I mean, they're just awesome, though. But,
yeah, that's great.
Welcome, you guys, and I see that more people are climbing into the portal chat room here on YouTube, so that's awesome. The TFR chat room's a little quiet tonight, but I just would like to say hello to Freeman 8, and Ken is over there, Lumicanati, and Daewoo is over there. Yeah. So glad to see you guys, and thanks for listening on the TFR chat room. That is cool, and if you want to check out the TFR chat room, you certainly can do so by going to tfrlive.com/chat. And you too can join the fun over there. Always good people and great conversations. And the same is true for our YouTube channel, where we are streaming live right now as we speak. And you can find the live stream over there by going to youtube.com/paranormalportal. So, Daewoo smiling. Hey, sent me a smile face. So, awesome. Thank you. And I was going to look at see how many people were out there listening to us tonight. As we ran in the door. Hey. We beat the bell, though. We did. That's what I'm really proud about. It's
buzzer beater.
I just can't believe how fast that went. Yeah, we got about 3,000 here listening. Wow. And the numbers. And again, iHeart only counts. The counter only gives us up to a certain number, and then if it goes higher, we don't see those numbers.
Let's just say it's redlined.
Yeah, the counter's redlined on iHeart. So all you guys out there, thank you for listening. And Regular Girl's here.
Regula.
She came into the TFR Live chat room as well. So it's building. It's a party starting here, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're hearing the sound of my voice and you want to get into the show, get into the chat rooms. A bunch of great people, and there's a bunch of them over in YouTube. Let me see. I know you're still not up, huh, Don?
Yeah, I'm still not up.
Wow. So I see Galactic Pixie, Deb Varner.
Hi, Deb.
Ken is in there, too. The Rotman one. Let's see who else. Renee is in there. I'm just going through the list here. Oh, Obake, Ghost of Hawaii is in there. Taz, Dory,
Hi, Taz.
Matt, Niven. Nice to see you guys. And I'm going through. Oh, Danielle is in there.
Oh, hi, Danielle.
Hey, Danielle. And let's see. Have I missed any of the people that have chatted yet?
Has anybody seen Lady Death yet?
I said we are taking attendance tonight, so
D's unaccounted for as well.
Lewis is in there. Good deal. Found Lewis. So you guys are here, and the party's just starting. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be doing a show about ghost pets and animal spirits. And the thing about that is, and I think this is did we get a little rain today? Yes, we did. Dory said, hey, Brent, Don, did you all get a little rain today? We did. We got I don't know if it was much, maybe a quarter of an inch, maybe a half inch, but
Wow.
nothing significant really, because it's so dry here that it was just like, it was gone. The ground was dry right away again, but it was cool.
Sucked it right up.
It was cool because, any little bit helps, of course, this time. So, yeah, it was only a splash. Yeah. Excuse me. So tonight is going to be animal spirits, ghost pets, and animal spirits, and this kind of goes back for a long ways for me. I remember I had friends. Actually, they were former in-laws that were into a very charismatic form of Christianity, and so they were really hardcore and really very very literalists and trying to interpret the Bible for themselves, and they came to some conclusion that spirits, the animals didn't have spirits, and whether it's your dog or your cat or the fish or the fowl or the deer, whatever, nothing had spirits except people. And I thought, wow, that's just really such a narrow thought, because what occurred to me at the time, and what I still think is the truth, that for anything to be alive at all, to be alive, and there's many versions of what alive means, for anything to have a conscious existence, not necessarily aware of the conscious existence, but to be able to function, move, react, adapt, and show pleasure or pain or sadness, it has to have a soul. And for me, anything with a pulse definitely has a soul, because that's life, and the life has to become from whatever it is that you define as the divine. That's by virtue of being alive, you have a soul, because that is what makes you alive, and not just a blob of pulsating mass or whatever. That's what makes us have these feelings and I've seen pets that have more soul than a lot of people that I've met in my life.
Yeah.
And it just really crushed me that was the feeling out there, and maybe that's part of justifying hunting and being eating animals and stuff. And I'm an omnivore myself. I mean, I make no bones about it that I just don't think I could pull off.
I bet you can make bones all the time. I make a lot of rib bones.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying, though. It's like,
Right.
I don't know how they came to this conclusion, but I guess it's because, for some fundamental way, they interpreted the Bible to mean that this is the case. And so that was the deal. But I really couldn't disagree with that more. And since doing the show, we've had a few shows we've done about animal spirits in the past as well. And we had some people call in with their experience as well. And one of which was a guy, and I haven't heard from him forever. And in fact, I'm terrible with names, ladies and gentlemen. So if I forget a name, it's definitely not it's not a personal thing at all. I just have never remembered names my whole life. It's like my personal dyslexia. So, but a gentleman had called in and told a story about his family pet, and it always slept in the same place in their house. And after it passed, he was up in the middle of the night, went to the bathroom, and came back through the kitchen and saw the pet sitting there in its normal spot, looking at him as he passed. And he got about 5 steps away, and then he realized, oh my God, my pet is not here anymore, and looked back, and of course it was gone. But for that moment, he saw that it was there. Now, my mother had a little, what was it called? What is those little fluffy dogs?
Shih Tzus?
No, it wasn't a Shih Tzu. It was a
Sean Freeze.
I don't know, one of those little fluffy dogs. But it was named Tucker, and it was this. My mom loved this dog. It loved it dearly, and it would always sleep with her, and she took it everywhere that she could. Well, the dog tragically passed away, and it was really hard for my mom. But she, to this day, still talks about how when she gets in bed sometimes, she still feels his footsteps going up and down the bed, finding his comfortable place, and then plopping down. And she knows that he's there with her. And I thought, that's just beautiful. So tonight we're going to cover some of those kind of stories. And I think for the most part, they're feel-good stories. Now, there are animal spirit stories that are not as wonderful. And I'm going to refer to the Dead Files again, because I thought this was a really interesting thing that Amy Ellen brought up on there, and she was helping these people in this house that were just having a real hard time, and she, of course, gets images about pretty much everything, and so she said outside the house there were these large rat creatures that were spectral, and they were forcing the negativity into the house and to keep it in the house.
Oh, wow.
And were probably the result of some kind of spell casting. And
Oh.
it turns out that the family did have someone that was involved in the occult that was used to be dating their son. And when they broke up, it got ugly. And so she probably cast the spell. But Amy Ellen was picking this up as these large rat-like creatures. Now, I don't think that those, in the natural sense, were actually animals. They were just some kind of manifestation of energy in an animalistic form. So I don't think it's, that, that it's one and the same. But I thought that was quite interesting. So, there are accounts of people experiencing animal spirits in a negative way, and I guess that would be one of them that jumps to mind. So,
Right. Wow. That's interesting, though, because, negative energies taking the form of animals is kind of a eerie thought.
it is, and I'd never before heard a reference of somebody seeing a result of spellcasting in that manner. I mean, that was so unique, and that's why it jumps to my mind. Is like, wow, you saw little rat-like creatures, and these things were very consciously circling the house. There was about a dozen of them.
Wow.
And they were encouraging negative into the house, but they wouldn't let it leave. So they were encouraging this massive buildup of negative energy. And that's why the family was struggling, one of the main reasons why. So.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, very wild. So, pretty creepy. But so we're going to get into some of these stories, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoy it. I think it's pretty spectacular, and I love this topic quite a bit because I've had pets that I have absolutely adored and loved, and when you are a pet owner and you have these our furry family, I guess is one of the ways people describe them, and I guess that's cute, that's fine, but when you lose that beloved pet, it's like losing a part of yourself, nearly as painful as losing a living person.
Sure.
And I don't mean to say that it's not as painful. Maybe for some people it's equally painful or more, but they are as much a part of our existence and life as any other part of our lives, as far as people, family, friends, etc.
Right.
So when they go, they leave a big hole. So it's nice to think that they might still be here. They might still be here.
And there's the comfort in that too. That Fluffy's always next to you, and it's a great feeling to know that or have that feeling. It's a great feeling to have that feeling that they're still there.
Right.
Because I know recently one of our listeners, Randy Dawn, she recently lost a cat.
Oh, did she? Oh.
Yeah, well, it's been a couple months now. But,
sure.
And I know we just happened to be talking about that night, or right around that time she had just lost. So, and it was cathartic for her, and she was able to, appreciate it and realize that, things go on,
Cool.
Yeah.
I still like that word, cathartic.
Cathartic.
It's very cool.
It's
a very cool word. It sounds smart.
That's why I use it.
I know. I got to figure out what it means so I can use it. I got to figure out what that word means so I can use it. All right. So the first one is beware of dog. This occurred sometime in late summer or early fall in 1998. I was a senior in high school, and my two best friends were sisters. One was a year older than me, Jane, and the other, Kat, a year younger. Jane had gone off to college, leaving us two younger girls to make our own fun. We lived in a very rural community with not much going on. The three of us were very different from the FFA kids or athletes at school. We preferred art, music, vintage clothes, or anything weird we could get our hands on. This included a Ouija board. Boom, boom, boom. The summer before Jane had left for college, the three of us did a lot of experimenting with the Ouija board. We thought we knew what we were doing, being respectful, always saying goodbye. However, this could not be further from the truth. The story doesn't directly involve the board, but I've always wondered if it has something to do with what Kat and I experienced one night. We were young and had have a driver's license, and live in a small town, you often take drives for fun. At least in the 90s we did. Kat and I would take my car, a 96 Nissan, to local cemeteries to talk for hours on occasion. We'd just sit in the car, listen to music, chat like proper weirdos hanging out at the cemetery.
Nice.
One evening after dark, we decided to make a 10-mile drive to a neighborhood town cemetery. This town is very much like our town, but maybe an eighth of the size, about 200 people. The cemetery sits up on a hill about a mile out of town. The first turn off the highway through the residential area and around a bend which takes you up the hill. As soon as we hit the city limits around the corner, I slammed on my brakes to avoid hitting a dog sitting right in the middle of my lane. Mm-hmm. It was an older dog, probably a blue heeler with cloudy eyes, gray around the muzzle. He got up and stiffly wandered to the side of the road to get out of our way. Kat and I continued up the road to our destination. Another few minutes by car, and we'd never been to the cemetery before, so we weren't sure what to expect. I pulled into the gravel parking lot, and we were unimpressed. No lights anywhere. We were too uncomfortable to get out of the car. We exchanged a quick dialogue like, "This sucks, let's go home." And before I could put my car into reverse, we heard the most blood-curdling, vicious, loud barking and growling in the car.
Wow.
Two brief but very distinct barks and snarling, coming from what sounded like the back seat. The windows were up, the music was off, and in our horror and shock, that what the hell moment, quickly turned around to see if somehow the dog from down the road had magically jumped into the car. There was nothing there. I peeled out of the parking lot and headed down the hill, expecting to see a dog just outside of the cemetery grounds. Nope. As we made our way down the hill, sure enough, the same dog we encountered on the way up was in the middle of the road. Again, I slammed on my brakes to avoid hitting him, and he wandered to the side of the road. Looking in the rear view, he went back to the same spot, almost like he was guarding something. Perhaps the cemetery? I'm not sure. We rounded the bend back into town, back to the highway towards the home. Kat and I had no explanation for the sound, just that it sounded exactly like a very angry dog in the back seat for 3 seconds, maybe only 2. Was it a warning to get us out of there? Was the dog in the road an apparition of the snarls and barks we heard? Did we unleash something with the board and it was angry? Were we just hanging around in cemeteries? Whatever it was, it scared the bejesus out of us, and we never returned to that cemetery. Good call. I'd say that's a great call.
Yeah, grim. It could
A grim?
be a grim.
Could be. Remember when we discussed cemeteries, and
Right.
there was the idea that sometimes dogs were buried alive
As guardians, yeah.
to become guardians of a cemetery. Yeah, that was an old practice way back when. So that is possible. Creepy. Very creepy, but possible. Huh. So that one's a little different. Just food for thought, I guess. Okay, now this one sounds kind of tragic, but let's see. It's Kat said goodbye before moving on. This goes back approximately 20 years ago. Therefore, it is rather difficult to remember all the details. But I had 2 cats as a youngster, and at around the age of 10 or so, one of them became extremely ill and had to be put down. Naturally, as I've always been a cat person, I was devastated and really struggled to come to grips with the situation. I believe it was the night that, whilst asleep, my cat appeared in my dream to assure me that he was okay. What happened in the dream was that my brother and I were on our way downstairs in the early morning and sat right on the rug in front of the fireplace was our cat. In front of the fireplace was his favorite place to sit. We both bolted over to crouch down beside him, and stupidly, it was a dream, I asked him if he was okay, to which I received a nod and a smile from him. And that's all I can remember, really, from the dream itself. It sounds nuts, and at the time I honestly thought it was, where I was so upset that he had gone, but after having read so many different accounts, maybe this was his way of letting me know that he was okay and not to be upset. So very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a cool story.
Hey, check our time real quick.
Check our time.
Yeah.
Are you expecting something?
Well, it's 20 something after.
That's true. We might be at nearly the break time. We
Oh.
are nearly at the break time, ladies and gentlemen. So we're probably gonna good eye, Don. Thanks for manning the clock. By the way, are you live now? Is your computer?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay, so it's good to go. So we will take our break, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back with more of the Paranormal Portal and more ghost pets and spirit animals for your listening pleasure and viewing pleasure if you're on YouTube.
That's
Just saying.
thought. Oh, we got to actually listen to these guys? No.
There's
we
the
got
bell.
Music. Wow.
We got bumpers. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Don't go away. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Friday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I almost said Saturday.
Jeez.
I'm putting the cart a little bit before the horse there. But yeah, it was a Friday edition. We're still doing fine. Thanks to some quick clock checking, we've saved the night, both from the break and, of course, launching the show. We weren't even connected or anything. It was so stupid.
I need Skype now.
I know. I was like, oh, my God. Clicking. I was frantically clicking like,
donut.
Gilligan. Yeah, it was terrible. But we made it, and we made it back from the break. Hope you guys had a good break, and you're ready to enter some more of the portal fun and mayhem. Sorry. Just clearing my pipes here for the forthcoming reading.
Does you got the coughs?
I did. I had a little cough, but I got it all sorted out. Thanks, Don.
Sweet. Nice.
Thanks, Don.
Hey, I think there's 25 people watching us on Facebook or
on YouTube.
Which is awesome.
Hey.
But there's only 11 likes. I don't know what's up with that.
Well, make sure you like the stream, ladies and gentlemen. It definitely helps us to place higher in the YouTube suggested video category. The more likes, the more that they're going to make sure that other people see our stuff.
Absolutely.
So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move into the night. Of course, it is about spirit animals, ghost pets and spirit animals. So we just covered a couple little stories, and we have some more to go. So let's see what else we can get into here.
Ooh.
Did you have one ready to go, Don?
Sure, I can pull one up here. Yeah, I just got some short ones here.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see here. My computer's actually running pretty good right now.
Wow, see what a little updating will do for you.
Let's see what happens now.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. The ghost cat from the previous homeowner.
Ooh.
One early morning, I woke up and looked over, and plain as day, there was a black cat on my floor looking at me. I get up, and it runs out of the room, and I don't find it anywhere. Wife thinks I'm crazy and laughs at how dumb I am. I can understand that.
That's so sweet.
I saw it maybe twice after. Then one night, about a week ago, I woke up hearing a noise. When my eyes adjusted, there's a cat on my wife's nightstand licking its paw.
Wow.
I nudge her awake, and I whisper, "Psst, look." She looks and says, "Aw." And the thing jumps down, disappears mid-jump before it hits the floor. One incidental note, there is an old woman with 2 cats who died in this house right before we moved in.
Wow.
Wow.
That's creepy cool.
Yeah, well, at least it's not, well, I don't know. Black cats are, omens in and of themselves.
Oh, they are not.
Especially if they glitch.
Yeah, that's on the Matrix, yeah, but no, that's...
No, that's kind of cool, though. I mean,
I got a black cat. He's a good omen if he's an omen at all.
Uh-huh.
Especially
just not to my toes.
Well, you're the one wiggling them.
Well, yeah.
you kind of reap what you sow there, buddy. If you
I don't
sit still.
I don't want to get alien toe syndrome.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that last night.
What the hell is alien toe syndrome?
Well, remember I told you the story about my hand?
Were you choking yourself or whatever?
I woke up pulling my own damn hair. What the heck?
Ladies and gentlemen, Don, in case you're new to the show, Don apparently falls asleep on his own arm, and then once it's thoroughly dead and hasn't had a pulse for a while, it starts attacking him.
Crazy. I think it happened the other night too. I was laying down, and all of a sudden my fingers just start twitching, and they grab my ear. But that's all they did. I was like, what the heck is this?
You are so broken.
No. Who says paranormal things don't happen to Dawn?
Yeah, I know, right? You're saying you need proof. Just lay on your arm for a while.
Lay on your arm for a minute.
You can see how haunted your own arm is.
Oh, I can't say that live online. Okay, so the pug that sacrificed his life.
Oh, okay.
12 years ago, my family had a pug that my brother had named Joba. And he was one of the most awesome dogs I ever had. When Joba was maybe 1.5, maybe 2 years old, my dad got a very bad case of influenza and was bedridden for weeks. I'd go days without seeing him since he was confined to his room all the time. My parents' culture have this superstition that if a human member of the house was ill, an animal will sacrifice itself to save them. Suddenly, one day, Joba stopped being so playful and refused to eat. We took him to the vet, and they couldn't find anything wrong with him, and we found him dead a few days later in the backyard. Miraculously, my father's illness seemed to just disappear. My family believes that Joba sacrificed himself to save my dad. We buried him under the big pepper tree in the backyard. Incidentally, my brother said that before Joba died, he would see an apparition of a white woman standing under the same tree and watching him while he smoked out there in the yard at night. After burying Joba, the woman seemed to chase around the tree. After he buried Joba, the woman seemed to be chased around the tree, and he could hear Joba's growl. Eventually, she stopped appearing. That Joba still looking out for his family even after he's gone. Well, now isn't that just?
That's kind of cool. I mean, if you're going to have a
Yeah.
ghost pet, I like that one. That's kind of guarding you.
You know,
That's
it's
awesome.
it's kind of sad though. I mean, you know, they sacrifice themselves in some way to take away the pain or the illness of a. You know, I mean, it's a great
Yeah,
it's a great theory, a thought, you know, belief. You know, unfortunately, you know, you come to love those things like family too. So you know, it's like, you either lose your dad or you lose your dog. Well, okay, if I got to take a choice, I love you, Joba.
yeah,
See you, buddy.
exactly.
Have a nice
Yeah.
one.
I agree. I mean,
Here's a
it'd be
s'more.
it would be a little easier to bury it. Well, it depends on your relationship with your family, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You know, there's a
I guess that's
in-laws.
relative. And, yeah.
Relative. That's relative. Ba-da-ba.
wasn't even conscious, but
Oh, see, they fall out without even
just
thinking.
yeah, it's no effort at all here. Yeah, I don't know. That's a wild theory.
Yeah, it's
I like that
it's
theory though. It's
interesting,
kind of neat that they may serve a more holistic
yeah.
role rather than like my cat just coughing up a fur ball here and there and
Chewing
catching
toes.
bats and stuff.
Catching bats.
Yeah,
Well, it is really cool. I mean, it just shows the innocence and the purity, you know, of an animal. You know?
Exactly. Like they are. A lot of people have theorized that animals are like guardian angels in a material form, and I know that it's sure seems that way.
Well, you know, and plus, you know, Jubba chasing the woman around, you know, the
right.
tree, and then she disappears. You know? That's kind of creepy too.
That's pretty cool though. It's
Jubba's
like
still there.
Yeah, if the woman's creepy, then she needs to go. She needs to get the hell gone.
Get out of here, lady. You don't belong here.
That is really cool. Very bizarre, but cool. And I like those kind of cultural. I assume it's a cultural idea that the animal will sacrifice itself to save the person.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Selflessness.
Yeah, right.
The cat that is protective in life after death.
Ooh.
When I was little, we had a cat named Guido. He was blind and deaf, and we loved each other to pieces in a way that only an old cat and a little girl could. He used to sleep at the edge of my bed while I was napping to make sure I wouldn't roll off. He was very protective of me. After he passed, I would still see him in his usual spot. My mom also reported that once she saw him sleeping next to me, and when she put her hand on the bed where she had seen him, it was warm. Huh.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. So you can actually feel the presence. Yeah.
That is outstanding. And again, that kind of gets into my mom's thing where she swears she can feel
Right.
Tucker, her dog, laying right down on the bed with her. Very cool. Very cool.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. The chow that follows the same routine.
The chow.
The chow. Those are awesome dogs.
Yeah.
They can be mean as hell, but you know.
As a side note, I love cats, but for some reason, Siamese cats, I've never found one that's really pettable.
Yeah, you know why?
I don't really.
We are Siamese, if you please. That's what scared me off of all.
Oh, the Disney
Yeah,
thing?
the Disney, whatever, the rescue.
Well, I mean,
God,
Siamese cats have always seemed really
They're always confident.
aggressive.
Cross-eyed cats are scary.
All right. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
We had a full-blood chow named Sheena. She was given to my mother by my father on Mother's Day the year I was born. Well, about 10 years ago, Sheena got really sick and the vets couldn't do anything for her because she was pretty old. The day before we were scheduled to take her in and put her to sleep, she didn't wake up. Sadly, Sheena had passed in her sleep.
Oh,
Well, yeah, better than passing
right.
in other ways, yeah.
That's definitely cheaper. I'm just saying. I sound like a real jerk. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't mean it that way, but I mean, all things, the same.
Yeah, yeah. Anyhow, she passed in her sleep. Well, as creepy as it sounds, Sheena used to sit next to my mom's couch and would scratch herself. You'd hear the jiggling of this little charm slash name tag she had. We still have that couch, and if you sit on the right cushion at night, you can sometimes hear the jingle of a chain or what sounds like a chain. This has actually brought my mother to tears before, and I've heard her say, "Go to sleep, Sheena," and it would stop.
Oh, wow.
Wow, yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Definitely.
Very powerful stuff.
The cat that wakes its owner. Wow, I didn't know it had to be passed on to wake an owner. This one's short and sweet. When I was a kid, my first pet was a cat with no tail. After he died, I'd sometimes see his silhouette walk across me at night when I wake up randomly. I had 2 other cats, but I knew it was him because the silhouette had no tail. That and my other cats would usually be on the floor. Well, okay. The snoring dog that misses his favorite spot. That'd probably be one of my dogs. Will you stop snoring? Oh, he's gone. I've actually had many occasions after having put down my oldest dog down. We could hear his snoring. He used to snore, go figure, at nighttime. Long after he was gone. He spent so much time in the spot that I guess he had come back and to make sure that we were all okay. And
That's cute.
See here. And the last one I have. The dog that wags his bushy black tail.
Mm-hmm.
I was visiting a friend one day and we were playing Mario Kart in his living room while sitting on the dining room chairs directly in front of the TV. Suddenly, in my peripheral vision, I saw a bushy black tail wagging back and forth, but I chose to ignore it for the time being. Later that day, I asked my friend if he ever had a dog, and he said yes, and I described what I saw. He told me that his family had had a medium-sized furry black dog that they had to put down because of health problems. He had debilitating seizures. Then he said until then only family members had seen him and seen her, and she had been down several years before I'd even met my friend.
Huh.
Oh, well, okay, so now maybe he's just considered family now.
Right. So then the question becomes, do people believe? I think it's the Rainbow Bridge or whatever is the idea that pets will wait for their owners to cross over together.
Right.
So are these stories a testament to that? That when they do pass, they stay by our sides until our time comes to cross over, and then do they journey with us?
That'd be cool if my cat Ezzy was waiting for me.
Yeah.
I had her for like 14 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then she just wandered away one day, and
that was
it. Yeah, she was gone.
Oh, well, I'm sure, if there's any truth to it. And I've thought the same thing. I've had some amazing pets. I've had some, really normal pets that were, drove me up a wall, but I've had some real amazing ones. And it's like, like I was referring to before, they imprint so heavily on you, and it's like, it's like this great relationship where you don't even talk. You just kind of know each other, and they cue off you so completely and perfectly. And when they pass, it's horribly painful, but are they always still there? Are they just waiting to make that journey with us? And what a beautiful thought that is. That they wait around and they hold vigil over us, and maybe they're chasing the ghosts around the tree for us. I mean, really, it's like, maybe. Are they doing that? Do they become our totems, so to speak, our personal totems that, that as they, shared our lives with us, they continue to, in their energetic form, waiting for us to pass. What a cool thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But I don't know. Again, I guess it's culturally, of course, there are some cultures that I think address that kind of thing. I know the Egyptians were really very fond of cats, and of course they mummified them. And actually our friend Josh has an Egyptian cat mummy.
He does?
Yeah, he does.
God, that guy's crazy.
It's actually on display in the local museum here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got a little oddity display over there in the museum right now. So to all those that are in the area, head over to the Bonner County Museum and check out some of the oddities on display. Those are a friend of ours, Josh, has them on display there, on loan to the museum. So Very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue on this journey. But if you guys have any input on this and like to share your own opinion of it, and apparently there are people that do, because we have Miss Deb Varner on the phone. Hello, Miss Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, guys.
There she is.
There she is. How you doing, ma'am?
Okay, how you guys doing tonight? You sound like you're doing fine.
We're doing good. We just hit, we didn't really realize it was time to start the show until it was already time to start the show. So it's been one of those nights. But it's going good. Did you? Yeah. Well, it's par for the course, I guess, here on the portal. But yeah, great night.
So what's happening with you, Deb?
Oh, well, I just called in with a story of a spirit animal.
Outstanding.
My dad and stepmother had a little brown dog named Coco, and she had been around since my sister was born. And when she passed over, my family had gone down to visit, and we stayed overnight. Well, my husband and I and daughter stayed in one room. Shannon slept on a cot, and somewhere in the middle of the night, Coco was up on the edge of the bed, like she was trying to get up in the bed with me. And I remember reaching over and tapping the mattress, because I realized she was there. But what was really cool, the next morning, Shannon asked me where the doggie was at, because she had been playing with Coco too.
Oh, very cool. That is awesome.
Wow. Gotta love pets.
And I've been lucky enough, I've had a lot of my doggies that have passed that have come back to visit.
And that's the benefit of being a psychic as well, is that you're so much more able to see and experience that. That's really powerful. But do you think that they do? Do you think, being a psychic, do you think that they do stick around after they pass and wait for us?
I think they're like other spirits. They come and go. Okay. I honestly think that some of mine are with my son.
Okay.
Because they were around when he was around, and I really feel like once they crossed, they went to where he was at.
Oh, okay. Very cool. But they still do mostly stick on this plane of existence. They don't really cross over until we go. Is that what you think?
I think I don't really think they stay per se. Okay. They are able to come and go just like a human spirit is.
Okay.
And if their heart is with you, sure they're going to be around.
Okay. Gotcha. That's really cool.
That is cool.
Amazing story. And that's really cool that you both had that experience, but your daughter also shares your gift though, correct?
Yeah. She does.
That's outstanding. And ladies and gentlemen, Deb will be joining us on the 25th of this month, so to do readings on the show as well. Woo-hoo. And in between now and then, you can find Deb at Purple Mystic Readings by Deb on Facebook. So definitely check her out. She does private readings as well. So awesome opportunity to get some insight into your own world.
Come check me out. I'm easy to find now.
There you go.
Outstanding. Well, we love you, Deb. Thank you for calling.
Love you too. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, see ya.
Bye, Deb.
And that brings us to our next call, Miss Diane Swagger. How you doing?
There's D.
Hey there.
Hey.
How you doing?
Hi. You finally did this subject. I've been waiting for this one, So I think I suggested it like ages ago, and you said, oh, we'll probably do it sometime. But,
well, here we are.
Because I have so many great stories about that, but I have to narrow it down because, all my babies, well, not all of them, but most of them do visit. And particularly the cats and dogs seem to visit. But there is a story that my friend Paul told me that he was reading about a guy that went out of his body, had an out-of-body experience, and as he rose up above, he saw the spirit forms of all of his old pets sort of lounging around the house.
Oh, neat.
In their old spots.
Oh, very cool.
And he says,
like they were, waiting, like they were just hanging out, still hanging out with him. So he found that very comforting, actually. So I don't know. Maybe they do sometimes hang around and wait for us. I'm not sure, but
Sure.
I know that mine tend to go and then come back for a visit. I have my first Siamese cat, and by the way, I just want to sometimes just totally. I think some Siamese pet owners ought to sue Disney because really they've done so much damage with that.
I know they did to me.
It's like, honestly, it was really also, they were Siamese, so we were, not happy with China at that time. We weren't close with China exactly. So they were also making a political commentary that wasn't really cool. But
sure.
Anyway, every time I hear anti-cat sentiment, I say, what has Disney put out lately where the cat is a villain? And almost always there is one. And then one time somebody said, well, but you'd have to be really crazy to really take it to heart. And I said, it doesn't matter. People really are really crazy, okay? It doesn't matter. People will watch animateds and cartoons, and especially Disney seems to be able to get into our minds and put stuff in there about, we can't eat deer meat because we're killing Bambi.
Oh, but that
like
sucks.
That.
Oh, no.
But that's what Indians, lived on, that kind of thing. So,
Absolutely.
It's just, I don't know, Disney has done a lot. Let's just leave it at that.
Sure.
Anyway, my top cat story, no, not my Top Cat story, if anybody remembers Top Cat cartoon. You're as old as me. Ha, I caught you.
By the way, Diane, I just want to let you know we have about 3.5 minutes till break. Just so if we hit the break, just hang on and we'll continue on the other side.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
No
I'm
problem.
probably like really rolling here because I haven't been on in a while. I'm like, so, okay. I remember the time you called me your other co-host. It's like, sorry about that, but I do have a tendency to ramble on a bit.
Okay.
I had a beautiful Siamese that would come back and show me every single time he had another incarnation what he looked like and say, this is what I look like now. Oh, that's cool. But it was very sweet. But Kanger is the one that had maybe the most poignant story because he ended up dying of a urethral blockage. And as I was taking him, and he wasn't that old. He was a product of a blue and a Siamese. And he was the sweetest little thing. He was everything, any love anyone ever wanted to give him. He was so up for that. Oh, yes. Carry me around like a baby, take me in the car, or,
Sure.
tickle my belly, anything you want to do.
Right.
He was always happy, And so, boy, when he started getting sick, it was very sad because I got him as a boy toy for my girl cats, really. Somebody to play with.
Sure.
And he had a great personality, and I would always hug him, and say, you are such a good boy, like that. And because they're kind of like kids. They're kind of like my kids.
Sure.
And so when I took him in, I was kind of heartbroken because when I heard what was going on, he said, we've drained some of the fluid, but, and I've given him some medicine, but if it doesn't work out tonight, all we can do is give him an operation, but that isn't even a guarantee he's going to live.
Right.
And so I had him one more night. I had him one last night, and he purred. And I'm thinking, Kangy, I don't want you to die. I'm going to really miss you. I wish I took him in. I dropped him off. I said, please don't die on me. You haven't even hardly been around long enough. And by the time I got home, here he is sitting on the bed. I'm clairvoyant. I'm a medium.
Uh-huh.
So there he is sitting on the bed. I said, "Oh no, this means you died, didn't it?" And he said, "Yes." Well, I was going to die, and I had to show up because I had to let you know, because I know you so well. You're going to blame yourself. You're going to recriminate yourself. You're going to wonder what you could have done different. You could have done this and that, and it's like, no, I was going to die. I wanted you to know that. And I also, and then he suddenly got up, and I'm not kidding, turned into like a cat person.
Oh, cool. Well,
really?
Listen, Dee, we're going to head to break.
I mean, got up on his hind legs and turned and got to be about my size, a little taller actually.
Wow, Dee, we're gonna go to break, so just hold on. We'll pick it up on the other side.
Good, we got a cliffhanger.
All right, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away.
Information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. It's our Friday night edition. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard, and we are burning the night away, and we do have a call going on, but just before I get back to the call, Ken, I'll contact you on next break, but you can't call me on Skype because I can't add it to the call. It doesn't work that way when I'm doing the conference into the studio and stuff, so I can call you, and I'll do that, and we can get to your story then. So hang on. But welcome back. We have a call from Diane Swiger, who is talking about her cat that passed and was just suddenly transforming into a human-sized figure. And so I'll let you continue, Diane.
Yeah, we had a great cliffhanger there. Thank you. But, yeah, I know. That was a surprise to me, too. You know, it's like all of a sudden he gets up on his hind legs and becomes person size, and I'm like, whoa, that's a good trick. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, but Ian, you know, that's exactly why he came back. Was he said because he didn't want me to feel guilty, and he knew I would. You know, that I couldn't have taken care of him better or something. They don't want that. They love us and they want us to be just remember them well and not feel guilty.
Sure.
I'm sure your cat would not want you to feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so he turns into this. He goes, you know, all those times you hugged me, I wanted to hug you back, and I never could really hug you right. And he comes up and he actually hugs me.
Aww.
And you know, and we hug, and it's like he is a person. He is a guy. And I said, you know, among all the things he told me many things. He said, you know, the reason I wanted to be a cat, he said, I don't think I'm going to be a cat. I said, are you coming back to me, you know, as a cat again? And he says, no, I think I'll be a guy next time.
Ooh.
And I said, a guy. He says, yeah, I was a guy. And, you know, I would see how, now this is really going to mess with some people. Sorry about your luck. This is a story, take it or leave it.
Right.
He said, yeah, I was a guy, and I used to see how women loved their cats, and they would shower all this love and attention on their cats. And I felt that I never had gotten that kind of love and attention from women. And I wanted to be a cat and see how it was to have so much love like that kind of love. And he said, you were exactly the right kind of person. You were exactly what I was looking for. You were really kind to me. You were really loving. He said, you really couldn't have done it any better. So stop feeling so guilty. And, you know, he told me a lot of other things, too, that I'm not going to go into, that I may go into on another time, because I know you've got other stories to read and stuff. But I mean, boy, that visit was gave me some very interesting insights.
Right.
Because apparently we can choose what we want to be.
Right.
Huh.
I don't know if we always do, but I guess at times we do get to choose. And he wanted to be a cat, to experience being a cat. According to him,
Wow.
that's what he wanted. He said, and you were actually exactly what I wanted, so don't ever feel bad about that. But here's the other thing. Later on, like just this year, a figure showed up during one of my ceremonies. A figure showed up in my living room that was looked like a cat man. Not only he was more humanoid looking, more like the kind you hear about the cat people,
Right.
that you hear about sometime from Lyra. Anyway,
Yep.
Originally from Lyra, now they're around Sid, and now I guess they inhabit a place near Sirius. They're in the Sirius B area, but I'm really going over some people's heads probably right now, but not all of you, because I know some of you know this stuff. Anyway, so I'm like looking at it, and his hair is all white. This person's hair is all white. That is and a long white beard, and that is supposedly an elder Lyran. And I swear, it felt like him, and I'm there going, "Oh my God, is that you?" And he opened his arms and gave me a hug.
Wow.
Yes, it was him. It's like, "Oh my God, you were actually a visitor here." And he said he just kind of laughed. Now, you can make what you want of that. You can say, "Dee's crazy. This is all just some kind of fantasy," if you want to. But honest to God, this is clairvoyantly what happened to me.
Sure.
And I have never forgotten it.
No, I can imagine.
That's my top animal spirit story, and you can see why it is, right?
Oh, for sure.
So, that is like the wildest one in the pack of stories. So,
And it is.
Now it is part of your show.
Well, thank you for that. Then that's wonderful. And believe me, I learned long ago that when it comes to the paranormal, anything is possible. And even though it's really hard to put it all into a paradigm we can understand, it's not important because is the universe is infinite, and so are the possibilities of life and what can manifest in the universe. So it doesn't. It's not beyond my belief, but it is a certainly a unique story that I've never heard before. But I don't put anything past.
I haven't heard too many like that. That's why I said, okay, this is the one I've got to tell tonight.
Sure.
So, and now it is part of the Portal.
That is true.
It is.
Archive.
It is. It's part of our our lore.
It's on record.
All right. Love you,
Okay,
Dee. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for calling in, and it's great to hear
Love
from
you too.
Okay, we'll
Love
see
you guys too. Bye
All
bye.
right, take care.
Night, D.
All right, and that brings us to our next call, which is Mr. Sean. You're on the air, sir.
Hi, it's just me again.
It
Ian,
is.
Sean.
We've been
I
waiting.
thought I'd tell you my story about my cat Loon. If I can bring it out without breaking down.
Aw.
I have about 5.5 years ago, I rescued this little kitten that was about 4 months old, but he was about the size of a 2-month-old. I got the whole family out. It was a cold February. And we went for a walk because I don't know why. I just felt drawn out. And there was this kitten, and it kept looking at us. And I looked at it and I said, do you need a home? And it would take a couple of steps towards me. Got to remember, it's about 20 degrees.
Do you have a
This
cat
is
by
high
you right
desert.
now? Do you have a
Take
cat?
a couple of steps and stop.
Sean?
Yeah, that's just Ashy.
Oh, okay. I was just like,
He knows
I'm
I'm
hearing a cat.
Yeah, I
This is
heard it
really
too.
wild.
I heard it too. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, Ashy, he knows when I'm upset. And so he'll cry. We call him Squeaky because he'll squeak at us until we pet him because we know that we're upset. But and he's all black. But Looney was all white and he had odd eyes, and didn't find out till later. because I picked him up and I said, if you want to come with me, come with me. And he came to me. Now I'm speaking out loud, and this cat is acting like he's hearing me, but he's stone deaf.
Oh.
So I picked him up. We finished our walk around the block and brought him into my home, and found he actually had a hard time breathing. And we took him to the vet. His ears were burnt from staying under cars to stay warm. They were singed right down to the cartilage. The doctor said, we'll have to operate and take off some of his ears. I said, no, let me deal with it. And I did, and his ears healed. I've got pictures. So
good.
he was 100%.
Excellent.
And I found out just this year that he was a breed of cat that would have been worth over $2,500 if he was not deaf, called a cow mani.
Wow.
It's one of the Siamese cats.
Okay.
And when they're deaf, they're worthless. Now, the reason why he was having trouble breathing is the original owner drop-kicked him like he was football, and his organs went up past his ruptured diaphragm and into his chest. The doctor said it was $3,500 for a 50-50 chance he would live with a normal life or die on the operating table.
Sure.
So I said, no, I'll give him the best life I can give him, as is.
Mm-hmm.
He learned sign language because, of course, he can't call him. And he learned while I was talking to him, and he would follow me around the house. Every time I'd sit down, he'd be on my lap. If I got up, he'd go wherever I was, sleep right next to my legs.
Mm-hmm.
He needed special care and attention, so he'd have to eat tuna whenever he was specifically hungry. And I learned to sign to him when he wanted, do you want tuna? And he would respond. And when he would meow, it was extremely loud because he couldn't hear himself.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the only cat in the house that doesn't run when you turn on the vacuum. So I began to realize that he was fading as his aura got too big for his body, and I realized it's coming time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to miss him.
Oh.
Took a few pictures of him that even shows his aura quite large.
Wow.
All right.
That's beautiful.
This is the part that hurt. He was starting to pass, and I picked him up, and he couldn't breathe. Now, as a psychic, I avoid doing the emotional stuff because it rips me up. But I lied to him. I said, it's okay, Loon. I'm on the other side. You see the forest? There's a garden there. I'm there waiting. I made him see me there. And instead of a long, protracted death, he went instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3 seconds and he was gone. And I felt like such a shit. I'm sorry for saying that, because I lied to him to make him move on. I don't know if it was because I wanted to avoid the pain of watching him gasp his last, or if I did it because I loved him very, very much.
But you are still in that forest, Sean. You're in that forest. You're still there. It's not a lie. You put yourself there for him to run to.
And he ran to it, and I buried him with my own 2 hands, feeling guilty the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And a few weeks later, my eldest son started seeing him around the house, and I began to feel him walking around my legs.
Mm-hmm.
And he would brush up against my legs, and it would still make me feel horrible because I lied.
Yeah.
And I started to feel a little strange about, like there was something he was trying to tell me. He didn't communicate directly. He just would look and he would feel, and I would know what he wanted.
Sure.
But this time I couldn't look in his eyes and see what he wanted. And my wife, my roommate, and I all got the same impression. We all, without even telling each other, went to the ASPCA animal shelter website and looked up white cats. And sure enough, found another one. Now, Kalamani can either have odd eyes or they can have 2 golden eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And we found his sister, who was about 4 months older. She had been made to queen out multiple litters and had been thrown away. Mm-hmm. And we took her home and found out the reason why they'd thrown her away after they'd made her have quite a few litters. she would have grand mal seizures. And Looney was trying to tell us, if you feel so bad, save her.
Mm.
So we read up on it, found out that giving the cat high levels of fats, which is actually a company I work with, specific fats that are actually good for their brain, would stop it. She had 3 seizures in my arms, and as of May, has not had a single one since.
Outstanding.
And she is just like Loon, except for the fact she's polydactyl.
Oh.
But I feel horrible because I lied to him, and I don't know. He every time I feel down, he'll brush up against my legs as I'm sitting at the computer and remind me that being stupid. But I think humans have a way of flogging themselves for their perceived deficiencies.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that's what I perceive as one of mine.
I really think that it's not a lie, though. I really think that you created that space for him energetically, and you put yourself there, and that space is in you. It's part of you, but I don't think it's a lie for what it's worth. And that's not me just trying to counsel you. That's just me. That's just what I'm feeling like. It wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing. It was a beautiful thing. And maybe you gave a part of yourself to stay in that forest with him, but I think that it's very real and he's very there.
And he couldn't breathe very well throughout the entire 5 years he was with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't notice this until after he passed, that my breathing eased. I was having problems with my breathing for reasons I didn't. I think it was because of the valley fever, and when he passed, it went away. You can listen to the recordings that I made while he was alive, and then after his passing, you could hear that I don't have the wheeziness to my chest anymore. My youngest son and I both had brushes with valley fever, and once you do, it never lets you go. But
that's amazing.
He passed, and he took it away.
Uh-huh.
So when they talk about animal spirits and the wonderful things that they do, I think about the guy who drop kicked him, and I think, how could you do such a thing to something so wonderful?
Yeah.
And he's done so much for me for the 5 years that he was with me, and even after his passing, he still was thinking all about me.
Yeah. Well,
and by comparison, I feel so selfish because all I did was give him a few things of tuna when he asked, and petted him whenever he was on my lap.
You gave him love, brother, and that was invaluable, and that's the most beautiful thing he could have gotten because he wasn't getting it anywhere else. So you have to, look at the positives. I mean, and that was a beautiful experience, and I'm honored that you chose to share it here and make it a part of the show. I think it's beautiful, and it speaks.
I'm sorry, I'm crying through the whole thing.
No, don't at all. That's real, brother, and your emotion is real as well, and that just shows how much heart you have, and it speaks to you as a person. So I'm honored, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you for letting me tell everybody.
Oh, anytime.
I just, if you guys ever love anything on this world, I think cats are the closest thing to God that we will ever be around. And once someone explained to me, not only do they defend us, but they're rather like the condition in Tolkien's stories between the elves and humans. We are like the elves because we live way beyond their years, and the humans are like the cats, and they adore us. They adore us, and we should never, never, never break that faith, that love that they have for us, like the humans had for the elves, that respect. We should never, ever, ever break faith with that, because in their love for us, you can see how we love, our adoration towards God, because it goes up the same way. And our ability to love them is the touch of the divine within us.
Right.
And
that's beautiful.
That's the reason why it hurt so bad that I felt I betrayed him.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but what you gave to him was invaluable, brother. So I hope you can always, know that you gave him love and something beautiful when everything was ugly before that. So you're a wonderful person.
Thank Thank you. I'll do my best to try and force away all of the negative thoughts that come up, because I never feel as if I've ever done enough for him. You know, I don't know. I guess that's an abnormal feeling. But I always downplay what I do, and everybody else seems so much better. And that cat seemed like he was the best cat I have ever had, and I have rescued over 90 cats in my life.
Wow.
It's a karmic thing. They come to my home and they do you have room? And you should say yes. Right now we have 9 cats that we've rescued.
Oh,
every last
cool.
one of them is a rescue. I've never purchased a cat. They just come up and say, hey, you know, this house is good. If you need a home, come on up. This guy will give you a warm place to live, and he'll fix you and give you your injections.
I agree, and I think you're the second person that's told me about that. But the other one was my aunt. She would always take in strays and cats and stuff, and she would get them coming up the same way. It was like they knew, they could feel that love and that safety, and they would find it. So they are incredibly gifted animals.
And the funny thing is that I have been really allergic to cats since I was 10 years old. I developed an allergy to them. And though they make me sneeze, I control it with pills, and it's not as bad as when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
But it seems to be something that I have to karmically handle through my life. I have to take care of them, and I've taught my sons the same thing, and they both are drawn to the cats just like I am.
Excellent.
And it seems that it's a thing that we have to go through. But I'm very grateful that the boys aren't allergic. It's my cross to bear.
Well, you're a beautiful person, brother. Thank you so much, and we're always welcome to appear on the shows. So we love sharing your stories and hearing from you. So call in whenever you want.
Okay, thanks for having me. You both have a great night, and hello, everybody.
All right, brother.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks, Sean.
You're kind of still fuzzy. Your microphone.
I didn't realize. Hey.
I waved at you a couple times.
I've been listening to Sean. So
well, that was good.
Here I haven't. I didn't. All I did was I pick it up and it clicked back in.
And it
so
worked good. Okay, gotcha.
You know, I want to remind him of that story that I read earlier. Now I don't know if he heard it because I think he was a little late, but about Joba the dog. You know, about how his parents' belief that, you know, animals take on the illnesses of the of family members, and then they sacrifice themselves in that way for the health of the family. So, you know, it's one of those things. You know, when he was talking about that, you know, and how he ended up. You know, how his breathing was alleviated, his son's breathing was alleviated afterwards, you know. I mean, it could be one of those situations. So, you know, maybe you were meant to have that cat for only a short while to help you through that part, you know, that illness or that chronic, you know, issue that you and your son were having. So there's always a reason, you know, somewhere. So
very true.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point, and that's actually a beautiful point. So hopefully that's, you know, able to bring a light and beauty to it. I think it's amazing to have that much heart and to care so deeply, and it speaks a lot about, you know, Sean's soul and his heart and his spirit, that he's such a loving person and full of so much empathy and genuine care. So yeah, I mean, the emotion is beautiful. It's you know, it's tough because they don't live long, but they become such strong parts of our heart, and it's like, wow. So very cool. But we're almost at the last break of the night already. Can you believe it?
Wow. Yeah.
It is flying by, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, faster than we had figured too.
Yeah. Well, the whole night's been fast though.
Yeah.
It's just been bounding from one to the other. Now, over break, we're going to contact Ken, who is down in Australia. We're going to have him on the show and see what he's got to say. I don't know. That's
more Cockney.
Cockney, I know. I'm just mixing a whole bunch of accents. But Forster's, it's Australian for beer.
It's not a knife.
It's not a knife. I'm practicing up my Australian to get Ken on. But
well, you know, and we talked about the other day, you know, when we finally, you know, bust loose from our 9-to-5s and such and can do this all the time. We were talking about taking plane rides to different places.
Absolutely, Ken. We're going to be coming down under when we can afford to, and you're going to give us a tour of the outback and keep us away from everything that wants to kill us in your country.
Yowies, as long as
yowies, spiders, snakes.
Yowie, spiders, and snakes. Oh my!
The whole continent is like a poised predator waiting to bite. I love Australia; it's a beautiful place, but and I've always wanted to go. But that is one of the concerns. Is like, my God, so much there can kill you.
Where I want to go is I want to go to Munich.
Munich, absolutely.
Which means our friend Zara, who is in house tonight, whoop, whoop,
Whoop,
will
whoop.
have to take us around and show us some places in Munich too.
Yeah, and Obaki, you'll have to show us some
hopefully
Hawaii.
that'll help soon.
Yeah, well, we'll get there as soon as we can.
Yeah.
But for now, we're just happy to bring you the best entertainment we know how to bring you. But we're going to take our last break, ladies and gentlemen, so don't go away. We'll be back for the last half hour of the portal and a little bit of Down Under.
That's if we can get a hold of him.
if it works. I'm going to try, Ken. But we'll see what happens. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Don't go away.
Excellent.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Paranormal Portal. I'm still your host, Brent Thomas, and you're still listening to the Portal with Don and myself here.
That would be us.
Burning away the Friday evening with you. So I hope you're enjoying the show. It's certainly been a lot of audience participation tonight, and that's been awesome. I love these shows, not only the email at the beginning, but all the phone calls tonight. It's been amazing, and I really, really appreciate all the involvement. And, of course, tonight, on the last half hour here, we have reached all the way around the world to the down under. Mr. Ken, you're on the Paranormal Portal, sir, to tell us about your experience.
G'day, Brent, Don. How you going, mate? Just putting a crocodile on the barbie and
God love you.
Just lamb chops tonight.
Just lamb chops.
Yeah, I don't know. I've told a few stories about ghost dogs and that, haven't I, on your show?
Yeah, that's all right. Even if you repeat them, I'm all right, because it's just a pleasure to have you on again.
Yeah, no, it's amazing how they connect to us. It's like, they're our guardian angels. I remember, like when I was young, my dog got shot by some next door neighbour, when I was 5 or 6, and that dog come back, with this angel and everything, and
I remember that story.
A weird time, and
right.
Since then, like I got my dog Floyd, and I had him for, from when he was about the age of 2 or 3, and had him till the age of 10. But when he passed, I had a dream before he passed. 3 weeks before, me and him had more or less been homeless, just couch surfing, at my sister's place and different friends' places for 6 months. And I was painting this friend's house. I was staying there up in the hills. It is up, it's like the mountain range there is called the Haunted Hills, and years back when I lived in a place called Bunyip, that's when I saw my first UFO. But this other place, Yinara, it's called, there's a lot of Aboriginal named towns where I've grown up. I had my dog, he was getting sick, and I was taking him for walks at night in this town, and it's like farmland just on the outskirts, and I'd take him to see all these cows and these horses and other dogs, and it was weird because I'd go down, he'd go in with the cows. 3 cows are in charge of like 100 other cows. These 3 would stand around him. He'd sit there and let them lick him. And all the other cows had to stand back and pay respect, and that happened every night. I was there for like 2 months, and every night this happened. Then I'd go to the horses. He'd sit there. 3 horses would come and lick his face, and I even took him to see an elephant. This circus was on the side of the road, and this elephant come over, and the elephant was going to lick him, and he sat there, and then the carnies got all crazy and get away from our elephant and stuff. He was an amazing dog. Like, he used to, very protective of women and children, Didn't care what guys did if they got in a fight, but if anyone raised a hand or yelled at a woman or a child, oh, yeah, he was there.
Oh, wow.
But he was gentle. He'd grab their arm. And anyway, when I was at this, little town up in the hills painting this house, I had this dream that... in the dream, he was dying in my arms, and I was trying to get everyone to help me in this place, and I was in this like house full of zombies and shit, and all these people I knew, they were all like spastic. Weird dream, but
right.
And as I got out of this place full of zombies with me dog, trying to get him to to the vet, suddenly this missile was coming towards us, and everyone was just standing there looking at this missile. And it was the end of the world, and I was just glad I was holding my dog, and he died in my arms.
Wow.
And then 3 weeks later, we finally found a home, you know, and I was in this log cabin, you know,
Right.
me and him, and we were there, and the first night there, he was sitting on this couch, and I looked over and I saw this girl sitting there, and she had blonde hair, jean jacket and jean pants on, and young girl, about 21, and then she just vanished as I looked at her, but she's smiling and looking at Floyd, and I go, well, who was that? And yeah, then I realised that the landlords had lost their daughter about 10 years earlier in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
She was
Right.
And then I saw photos of her and that, and I go, oh my God, that was it. I never told him because I didn't want to spit out, you know.
Right. That's a very powerful story, though, and I remember you sharing that one before, and I thought how amazing that was that you had that experience with her as well.
Yeah, and then like a few weeks later, he had a heart attack. Funny thing is, I was being a targeted individual because I tried to expose a cult that I grew up in, and I was down at the beach with my dog. I was going to see a mechanic. The police pulled me over. These 2 women police, and one of them told me to stay by the car while she got all my details, and then the other one went up to me dog, and she's looking over, and I was going, what's she doing over my dog? And I went to get her, and the woman said, if you move, I'll have to shoot you.
Jeez.
And then I, you know, as soon as they drove off, my car was unregistered at the time, but, you know, I'm allowed to go to mechanics, you know, but they still fine me for that, you know, $400 back then. Now it's 800.
Jeez.
Then I went to mechanic mates, you know, went back home that night, and then my dog suddenly had a heart attack. And I tried to bring him, when he died, I resuscitated him back for mouth and everything, and yeah, but I think they poisoned him anyway.
Right.
But yeah, he died in my arms just like in that dream, and yeah, that was weird.
That is really weird. Very powerful, though. I mean, Ken, I think you're probably a bit of a psychic yourself, or some kind of medium, because you've got.
I do connect with animals. I almost know what they're thinking.
Yeah. Well,
even birds.
Exactly, but you've had in the time that I've known you, you've shared with me so many different things that have happened to you.
Koalas, the snakes, the spiders.
The koala, for instance. That's another great thing to bring up. Is that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar, Ken, of course, is in Australia, but he lives out in a rural area, and he had a koala show up and just kind of hang out by his house forever. Would you? And he's going to sleep now, right? I mean, he's into hibernating or whatever.
Yeah. I actually had another koala out a few weeks back. It's a female one. I can tell by the call. You know the call. But yeah, he'll be about soon. You know, it's starting to warm up a little bit, and today though it's freezing today. But yeah, like just up the road, I come across this poor kangaroo that had been hopping along and got caught in a barbed wire fence and broke its back legs and its back.
Oh, no.
And it was amazing. I just happened to come across it because it would have died in agony, but I managed to get in my car and took it to the vets, and she just goes, oh, no, he's stuffed. And when he died, he grabbed my hand really tight, you know. And like he was real, I was the last thing he had, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was the same when my Sasha dog died, you know. That morning when she just fell into my arms as she walked outside, I felt her spirit go up, you know, and I felt that with a kangaroo. I felt that with me,
Wow.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And yeah, then there's a mate of mine. Well, he, you know, I don't know him anymore because he got chased out of town because he was gay. But anyway, up the road in this town where I've just got my new dog Bruno. He's a Mastiff. His master died not long ago. And I ended up taking him, you know, his daughter's like my goddaughter, and she begged me to take him. And so I still got Ivy. She's not too good these days, but she... And I can't have them together because she's got a bad back. But, yeah, where he come from, this mate of mine, he lived there. He's an aeroplane pilot and all that, but he got sacked because he's gay, actually.
Oh, no.
And what happened to him, he grew a couple of marijuana plants in his backyard. And he had cameras all around because, you know, he had a bit of money. He can afford cameras for security.
Sure.
And people next door, they found out he had plants, and they've got a couple of daughters, and they rang, you know, the whole town, they're, you know, very cliquey in this town, you know.
Okay.
He eventually got chased out of town, you know, charged with drugs and all that. They called him a druggo because 2 marijuana plants. And he had the cameras for security. He's not, you know, he's gay. He's not into little girls and shit. I knew the guy well. He was a really nice guy. Went through hell, lost his pilot's license because his gay lover died. And he, you know, it's like Hicksville here sometimes. But anyway, ended up in Nimbin, which is like the hippie capital of Australia.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, but... what he told me, he'd been living there for years, and he went down the beach with his dog. I know exactly where it is now, and I'm going to go there. But he was down there, he used to go down there regular, and then he saw this guy walking along with his dog just nearby. And it's like real brush there, you know, like bush. And you can't walk through this stuff. It's like real... thick tea tree plant, you know. You probably have it up your way. And he saw the guy and his dog just walk into this scrub, and he's going, that's weird, you can't walk through that stuff, you know. But he didn't think about it, and his dog was growling at him and that. And the guy actually waved at him, and then he went back like a week later, at the same day, same time, more or less, with his dog, and he's sitting there, and then the same guy walks past, does the exact same thing, waves at him, and the other dog looks at him, and his dog growls, and he goes, hey, come back, you know, and he ran over there, and it's sand, and there's no footprints into the bush.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's weird. And then he started asking some of the locals there, you know, the people who own this store for like 30, 40 years.
Sure.
They go, oh, no, that's the guy he got murdered 30 years ago by these thugs, and they killed his dog. And a lot of us see him quite often, you know, at that particular day, you know.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's very
it's
cool.
It's like an echo. This poor guy and his dog got murdered by these bloody, you know, serial killers who, you know, whatever they were. They never got caught, but... Yeah, his echo's still there, you know. I want to go see it, you know.
Yeah, no kidding. Get a camera and set it up and see if we can capture something.
No kidding.
Yeah, that'd be quite good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I don't find anything evil about ghost dogs or, you know, even their masters, yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I'm going to take Bruno there because he's, that's where he's grown up too, you know, so.
Right.
My new Steve. Yeah. Oh well, I suppose I better let you know other people talk. Yeah, I've been.
It's okay. I was letting you roll with it, brother, because we never have you on. So it's always nice to hear from you and hear what you got to say and what's new, and so it's thanks a lot for calling in or being a part of the show.
Absolutely, nice to hear, bud.
It's been an excellent show. I mean, I was almost wondering if I could talk. Breaking your tears, but there's a few other stories, but yeah, tell them another time. Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much. And when we're done, you're gonna have to click the hang up button on you, because if I do it, the show will be over.
Good point.
Thanks for having me on, guys. And
all right, brother.
love to all you out there and in chat world and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, we love you, Ken.
Bud.
Take care.
Normal Portal. It's the way. Okay.
Night, Ken.
Good night. All right, cheers.
Hoorah.
Now that was cool. It's nice to have Ken on.
You know, it's nice. It's nice to have him on and we can actually hear him. You know, have you noticed it's been really quiet tonight? The hissing in the ears. And
It
stuff?
has, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
I wanted to wait until the end of the show to
Then before
say
you
anything,
jinxed
but, you
it,
know.
but yeah, we're only 10 minutes out.
Yeah,
and
we're almost there. So.
It's looking good.
Yeah,
so
it's been a great show.
it has been good, and we've got some great participation, and you guys are all joining in, and these stories. I think this topic touches pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, most everybody loves their pets, their animals, and feel that real emotional connection. So I mean, it's, of course we want to know that they stick around and are still a part of our lives even after they pass. So
Right.
that's very powerful and very, very cool.
You know, the only thing, a lot of people don't like being called pet owners. You know, a lot of people prefer to be called pet guardians or, pet parents. You know,
Sure.
I can understand pet parents, but pet guardians, come on. Let's quit being PC,
It's like,
let's not be so PC,
well, yeah, I think it gets really almost nauseating sometimes to have to tailor your vocabulary around somebody's paradigm or whatever they want to,
Yeah, but
change the way you talk because they
Yeah.
want to hear things differently.
But I think more appropriately, there are guardians, with these stories and the connections we have with our pets. I think we're more, they're more our guardians than anything else. I mean,
yeah, maybe they own us.
Yeah, we already know cats do. So
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
dogs just get it by default.
yeah, I have a cat, and I love my little guy. He's a feisty one, but he's got all kinds of spirit.
He is. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
He's a bundle of furry love.
I got a cat around our house. We call her. I guess her name is Andromeda, but we call her Drama. And there's a lot of drama around the house with that cat. Oh my goodness! But it's always, I wake up and it's like I'm laying on my side. It'd be in the crook of my knee, and I'm like, "What are you doing on my bed?"
Just getting some snuggly love.
No doubt.
Yeah, well, it's good. And actually, I'd heard many, many years ago that cats process energy. They help to process energy. So when you're holding them and they're snuggling up on you, and now an experience that I had, which is really cool, is I had my appendix out, and I was living alone at the time. I was a weekend parent and all that, but I was really in tough shape. And I think this is the time, yeah. And I was healing by myself, and I had a black cat, and his name was Solomon. And he was kind of an aloof cat too. Both black cats, well, no, the several black cats I've owned have been very aloof, and the male ones anyway. The females have been real loving and snuggling, but he really wasn't a snuggling cat either. But when I came home from the hospital from having my appendix out, he literally got up and laid on me, and would only get up to go to the bathroom or to go eat and drink something quick, and he'd come back, and he laid on me for days. And I think he was just giving me healing energy or something, because, over time I got better. By the time I got strong enough that I could, pretty much handle things without too much agony, and then my mom came to see me and stopped in, and she didn't get the door shut all the way.
Oh.
And he as soon as I was better, he basically just left. And that was really cool. I mean, of course I missed him, and I certainly looked for him, and then it was a few years later, I was in the back dog with my then German Shepherd, and I go around the corner to my backyard, and there sitting is a perfectly black cat, just like Solomon, sitting next to an orange tabby cat. And they were both just sitting there, just like little statues, looking at me. And I came around the corner with the German Shepherd, and both of them just looked.
Just looked at
my
it
dog
like, oh.
was like pulling on the leash, like, "Hey, I can get those." And I was like, "No, you can't." And those cats just stayed there and didn't move a muscle. They just kind of looked at me. And I always thought, I wonder if that was Solomon coming back and just saying, "Hey, this is the family. Meet the missus, and we're expecting, so thought we'd swing by." But it was really cool, and then never saw him again.
Wow.
Also, had a feral cat show up, and I, ladies and gentlemen, this is back when I lived in Minnesota, but I lived in a town of 18,000 people, so it wasn't a small town. And I lived right in the downtown area in a historical district in this house that I lived in. And I came home one time, and my porch door didn't shut all the time. And I didn't have any pets at this time. Well, no, did I or not? I don't remember. But I came home, and I saw this black mass. Is all I can say on the end of my porch, because you go on the porch and then you go into the door. Mm-hmm. And then my porch was long and narrow, and on the other end was this like that sound. And I'm look over, I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I'm like, oh, it's my cat. It got out. Weird. How did that happen? Because I think I remember now that I had one of my cats at that point.
Right.
And so I was going down again. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And all of a sudden, man, that thing fluffed up and it got huge. It got about the size of like a small lab.
Wow.
So, and it was jet black, and it was just feral. It had no tail, so it was like a bobcat kind of thing.
Right.
And I was like, ugh. And I was way down the porch, like halfway down to the end. He was like balled up, like looking like he wanted to kill me. And all of a sudden, he just went like that and flew, like jumped into this 8-foot arc of fur and claws and cleared me and got to the other side and just shot out the door. I was like, ooh, God, what the hell was that?
Oh, spooky. Ooh, that's spooky.
It was this massive hate. That thing did not like me at all.
Well, it sounds like a good thing because you got it off your porch.
Yeah, I got him the hell out. I thought I was going to go pick up my kitty, and it turns out it was a black mass of hell waiting to kill me. But once I walked towards it, it was just this flying kung fu claws and rage.
Yeah.
And it landed on the other side and ran out. I was like, oh God, thank God. So that's I have no idea what that has to do with the show, but it came to my mind.
It's fun. We've had a fun show. It reminds us of these things, and so sharing your stories. That's what it's about.
It's just me editorializing a little bit, but hey, get to know your host night here on the portal.
There you go.
You know a little bit more about me now.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there you have it. And we are at the 3-minute mark already.
3 minutes. 3-minute time limit.
Now, just a look. I just want to see. The 25th is a week from tomorrow. Okay.
A week from tomorrow. Okay,
a week
so
from tomorrow, Deb is
going to
be on.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be that night.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been kind of we haven't had a lot of guests this month, but after the last couple months, it was just.
My God, yeah, that was.
I just really like these kind of shows as well, just to get back and talk and to have a chance to talk to our audience, and it's been growing so big, so it's been a lot of fun to connect with all of the regulars and meet some of the new people. So.
Right.
Thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy says we sound great. Very cool. Jimmy Jean into the microcosm will be coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. So stick around. He and Rio, Rock and Rio, will be taking over here on TFR iHeart. Tune in and TalkStream Live and bringing you the Into the Microcosm, which is always a fun-filled adventure of I don't know. It's like a multimedia blending of art. I don't know how else to say it. It's just it's the microcosm is its own show.
It's got music.
You've never
comedy,
music, comedy, and great interplay and just a lot of fun. So definitely stick around if you're listening to us and tune in iHeart, TalkStream Live, or TFR Live, and you'll enjoy yourself. But let's see, anything else that I got to think of? We got a minute and a half. Don, anything?
Anything? Well, this one time,
This one time I was at the bar. No, I'm just kidding.
And I fell off my stool.
But that's our show tonight for the pets and
it
animals, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, I think everybody can relate because I think most everybody's an animal lover of some kind.
Absolutely.
Either you're a dog person, you're a cat person, or you're some kind of person that appreciates and loves animals. So I believe they stick around. I believe they're here. They're waiting, and they're part of our lives. And like Deb said, maybe they go back and forth all the time. That's really a cool thought, too.
Right.
Because, I can't imagine sitting as a shadow somewhere for years and years would
Like
be a
on
lot
your
of fun.
porch.
Yeah, like on my porch waiting to kill me. No, I'm just kidding. Not sure what was wrong with that animal, but it was. I think it might have been a bobcat though. That was just creepy. Ooh. But he hated me, man. He didn't like when I started walking towards him. Ooh,
Right.
still gives me the chills.
Shields.
So I hear the helicopter coming. Quick
Yep.
prayer to anybody that's needing a helicopter. Hope they're okay.
I'm
But
fine, thanks.
You're
All
always
right.
fine, Mr. Don. But that's the bell. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow night here on the Portal for more of the mayhem and fun that is the Paranormal Portal. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, and we'll see you tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Pacific time. Don't miss it.
See ya.